You were always scum.
Rebel scum.
James, did you see the new Star Wars pictures? Of course you did. You sent it to me from The Mandalorian.
Ooh, are they making another one?
They're making another one.
Interesting.
It comes out in, well, we know the date now, October 32nd.
Yeah. In 2020, I would believe that in a heartbeat.
So we're just over 50 days away from Mandalorian. One season dose. It's exciting. Did you see the pictures that you sent me?
Missed them. What? Okay. What were these pictures? Pray tell.
There's a picture of the Mandalorian.
No.
Baby Yoda. Grieve Karga. The girl. The guy with the sword. And the sand person. Tusken Raider. Cool. Nothing hugely... it looked cool. I don't remember... I mean, there's a whole scene where the Mandalorian gets his sigil, the mud horn, but I don't remember him having it on his. Oh God, what's the shoulder thing called? Because I found that was the most prominent thing in that picture, that you could see the mud horn sigil on. I was like, ooh, baby.
I didn't notice that. I didn't. I clearly didn't look too deep into these pictures. I was just like, ooh. Spectacle. Okay. Well, we talked about it a little bit. He's Brock. I'm James. Rebel Scum Podcast. 103 episodes. We talked about it a little bit, and you were like, nothing too revealing or anything.
Yeah, no.
And I agreed, but I also said, I've said this a few. No, you know what I'm going to say.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I don't need anything. I'm watching the damn show. You've told me when it's on. All I needed to know was when it started. I'm watching the show. Everyone's like, I need the trailer. Why? You're watching the show. You want the trailer. We all want to see it. We all want footage from it, but we don't need it. It's not going to sell us on this show any more than, the first season is the trailer for this. If you like this, you're going to get more of this. You're like, ooh. Favreau did. There is an interview with Favreau where he says a few cool things, though. But anyway, that's how I feel about it. The pictures were cool because they're like, oh, look, everyone's back. The gang's back together. It's going to be a lot of fun. Grief Karga has a sick white beard, and his new wardrobe is phenomenal. I really, really like that.
Yeah, that is different, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think I might go for him as Halloween if Halloween's not canceled this year. Because I'm like, I just want to. It looks comfortable and classy, so I'm kind of.
It's like, what are you? A Roman senator?
Yeah.
Yeah? This sentiment is all well and good, James. I don't disagree with you, but we have a Star Wars podcast, so when new things come out, we do have to technically talk about them.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. Nope.
Yep.
Dune trailer came out today.
Okay. Okay. Fear is the mind killer. Now let's dissect.
Wait.
What is fear?
When you explained Dune to me, you never mentioned a mind killer.
Oh, that's it's in the book, but it's obviously one of the most famous lines from the Fincher version.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
don't. When I was a kid, I think my grandmother, somebody a kid, 3 to 5, when I was probably 3, I had this hardcover, very thin making of behind the scenes of the Dune movie. And I knew nothing about Dune. I just knew it looked like something, even though I love Star Wars, it looked like something I had no interest in watching. Yeah. And I never did. And then as I got older, people were like, Dune. And I was like, oh, that's that hardcover book thing that I had as a kid. I couldn't read. That's how young I was, right? I couldn't read. So I just looked at the pictures of Picard and the bad guy from the Flintstones. And it was that's what I was like, he's the guy in the book I had. Yeah, Colin McLaughlin. That's all I knew about Dune, and that's actually the extent of my Dune knowledge is the pictures of people who look weird in sand.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I can't wait for Stargate to come out. Sci-fi and sand. Woo woo.
Still haven't seen
No.
Stargate. Zori Bliss is
Uh,
September's calendar pinup calendar is Zori Bliss. Last month's pinup was Poe. Now it's Zori. There's a theme. I like the way they're keeping it. I hope next month is Babu.
Is that the theme?
Well, I mean, it would make sense.
Rise of Skywalker.
I don't think that.
I was hoping
think
you'd say
huh?
the theme is Star Wars.
It is. I'm trying. I don't know what calendar I'm gonna get next year because there won't be a Star Wars movie. So I don't know if I want a retro Star Wars calendar. I feel like I could get that any year.
Yeah. You're gonna go to a mall?
I have been to the mall near me several times. I wear a mask. Everyone wears a mask. It's good. There's hand sanitization stations everywhere, which is like my dream come true. I was like, where was this before? So I walk in, sanitize. I go to a store, sanitize. My hands are very thin. Like my whole skin is just dissolved right off. I just have skeleton bone hands now. It's a good time. But there aren't as many people living here, Brock, as there are where you are, and there's only like 3 cases in the last like 7 months. So
yeah.
The fear, like I feel safer.
Fear is a mind killer.
Anyway, Star Wars. We love Star Wars. That's why we talk about it, and that's why we do this show.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
So, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about Jeff Goldblum, but you want to talk a little bit more though, Mando season 2.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about Mando because the Mandalorian. I was because we always talk about Star Wars and like the sequel trilogy, and we beat that. Everyone has beaten that like a dead horse, right? Like, God, I'm so sick of the sequel trilogy, the nonsense about it and everything. It's like great. I love watching it. I'm just sick of everybody bitching about everything to do with it. I was thinking about the Mandalorian the other day, and I'm like, they just got it all so right. I felt right, and then And then I was thinking more and more because when you think about Star Wars was an original property, and now it's obviously not. But what it was George Lucas and Gary Kurtz, and they could not get the rights to Flash Gordon, right? So they created Star Wars, and the Mandalorian almost feels like Jon Favreau did not get Episode 7, so he created. And the thing is, nowadays you don't create like an original idea anymore because nobody will buy that. So what he did was he went into the Star Wars sandbox and he created his own Star Wars. And it's almost like that's what we got. And that's why it's so good, is because he created this thing with the love that he had, not because Kathleen Kennedy was like, well, haven't you ever wondered what happened to Luke Skywalker? There was no persuading him to do it. This was just something he did. Like he said, I wrote it on Christmas Day and I sent it to him. It's just something that he wanted to do and he was passionate about it. And I think these, that's the difference between, I think that's why you could feel it in the show though, is you feel like this is Star Wars, for better or worse, is, filmed by committee now. It's Disney. It's this big corporation. But The Mandalorian, even though it was that first show on Disney Plus, it really felt small in scale. And obviously with the budget, it was compared to any of those movies. Like the $100 million it cost to make all 8 or 10 of these episodes is half of what it cost to make The Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi. So it's still small, and it feels like, they just kind of let Favreau do his thing. And he's like, Filoni, let's go make this thing about this man. Oh, yeah. And they just kind of did what they did. And no one really bothered them, and they believed in it, and here we see the success.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I don't know. It's just like you think about that all the time. It's just like, what was going on with what? I can't remember. There was something I was thinking about recently where it's just like, well, if they had things figured out. I think I was reading something about the sequel trilogy, and they're like, well, if they had this all I was probably Rey being a Kenobi, and it's just like, well, if they had figured it out ahead of time. It's like nobody figures any of these movies out ahead of time. Like, I'm sure there's a somewhat idea, of what's going to happen, even in the original trilogies. But they're figuring out as they go. Like it's just like it is what it is, and it's just like I mean, it's hard to say that without any more examples. So like, perhaps season 2 of Mandalorian won't be good.
It
I
might
don't
not
know.
be. I'm just saying
They
that.
copy the same thing. Yeah.
I was just saying, like, it feels like Jon Favreau did what Lucas did when he couldn't get. It almost feels like that, where he's like, I just want to tell this kind of story, and he just did it, and that's what I mean. I'm not putting down sequel trilogy, anything. It just it feels like this is somebody who wanted to play in a sandbox, wasn't really allowed to, but he's like, but what if I did this? And they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but like at the same note, maybe that was the same thought process that JJ and Ryan Johnson had. Who knows? It just didn't translate the way people would expect. You know what I mean? But it's different, right? Like the show is a little bit,
and the show doesn't have the weight.
It's like you said, it happens really quick. There's not a lot of convoluted storyline. It's just like this, and then this, then this, and then you're like, whoa, like, and then at one point you're just like, and by the way, this is how it all fits together. You're like,
yeah, I love the 30-minute runtime. I hear that might change. There's gonna be more lenient, which makes sense. But I love that runtime because there was, like you said, there was no fat. It was just like, this is the point of the show. Let's move on. No, I think look, the other thing with the sequel trilogy is it has the weight of it being a theatrical Star Wars film, and that adds a lot to it. The other thing too is J.J. Abrams comes in with his ideas, Ryan Johnson comes in with his ideas, and then J.J. Abrams comes back with his ideas, and it's like, well, that's part of it was and you can't, and you know, people are like, J.J. ruined it, he can't tell his story, or Ryan Johnson ruined it. They did what they thought made sense based on what they did, but they're very different storytellers and filmmakers, and so they come into it with different points of view and different angles on it, and that's, I guess, the clashing narrative. For me, I think The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker blend in together very well. You know, it was, I don't know, whatever. These look, the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy is a mirror of the original trilogy. Force Awakens is A New Hope. Everyone's been being that to it like a dead horse. Nobody brings up that The Last Jedi is just Empire Strikes Back in reverse, and then The Rise of Skywalker is just The Return of the Jedi, but instead of Ewoks, you have ex-stormtroopers. It's like and you still got to take out the Emperor at the end. They just mirrored it because it's poetry, it rhymes. Whereas The Mandalorian, it has nothing to mirror except for the Ewoks and droid cartoons, which I think is doing a horrible job of replicating.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I just I'm excited for anything new. You know, it's like
absolutely
even the Lego holiday special. I'm like, ooh.
I can't. I love that it's the it's a holiday special with Lego. It's the most fitting thing of all.
Yeah, it makes the most sense to try to recreate that sort of goofiness.
If I asked you right now your top 5 favorite Star Wars characters, would anyone from The Mandalorian make that list, do you think?
Not yet.
Would anyone from the sequel trilogy make that list?
Yeah, Poe Dameron. No, I think like Kylo definitely would be in that sort of. But like Mandalorian is like the characters are interesting, but we haven't fully fleshed them out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mando, but like it's only you're like, I think you get the idea that like something has happened to him and he is the way because of this event, and then you find that out at the end of the season. Cara Dune, I'm like, that's interesting. Tell us more. She's just like, I'm a girl with a gun.
From Alderaan.
Yeah, and Grief Karga is cool, but like again, it's just little pieces of him. And he's like, is he greedy? Is he a Lando character? I don't know. And that's not comparison because they're both black actors. It's like they're both like, I'm always up to some new scheme.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Grief Karga turns his back on him by the third episode. Well, I mean, he actually doesn't really. He just kind of like, he doesn't want to be killed, basically. And then Quill. Quill,
Yeah.
I loved Quill. I think Quill got the most story development,
Yeah.
but they offed my favorite character. So
Actually, I guess IG-11
yeah,
probably has the most character development because he goes from a murdering bounty hunter to a babysitter by the end. But he gets melted, so it's like, oh man.
yeah, him and Quill, my two of my favorites.
Yeah.
Gone, but not forgotten. Quill looks out for me from behind all the time.
Uh-huh.
Big
So
Quill fan.
yeah.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I think Kylo would be on my top 5 list. And I think if Quill was in another episode, he might be up there. I'm a really big fan of Quill, of that character. But I mean, you're going top 5, top 10 Star Wars characters. I don't think he's earned that at all. Maybe we get more stories of Quill in the future. Who knows? I know I like books and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to meet you get a prequel series. Here's the Quill show, and it's just him. I'm on a blurg.
It's like, this is when I was working on Cloud City or wherever he was a slave.
I will be here. I have spoken.
Oh.
Huge fan of him though. A lot of fun. I'm looking forward to season 2. They were very, like, when you look at those pictures, like you said, there was nothing telling except they gave us the Tusken Raider on the what's it called thing, and it was like that was awesome to see. So I guess we're going to Tatooine again in season 2.
Yeah, maybe.
Do they live anywhere else, Tusken Raiders?
I have no idea. I don't think so. But Jawas technically live on multiple places. But
They were called off-world Jawas, though.
off-world Jawas, what does that mean? I mean, that seems weird. You think it'd be like just, oh God, what's the planet that Grief's on?
Navarro.
Like, why aren't they just called Navarro and Jawas? Like, I can understand that because they collect pieces of equipment, so perhaps a Jawa flew off a planet at some point, or went onto another ship to somewhere else.
Can't tell you.
Yeah, that would be, how interesting would that be? It's like a cold open of an episode of Mandalorian where perhaps you've seen this Jawa throughout the episodes, and then the cold open of one, like episode 6, is like, how did he get from Tatooine to here? And you follow them. There's no dialogue outside of like Jawa'ese or just Jawa, as they say. And you see him go from one place to another, end up at some location that's really vital to that story right at that moment. Like, that feels like Breaking Bad, where they would start off with like, here's this housefly that flies around and sees all these events. That would be cool.
That would be cool. Oh, I'm really curious about this one because they also Favreau makes it sound like the characters are going to branch off and do their own thing now too. So we'll see. So maybe it doesn't, like, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't follow Mando completely. Maybe there's an episode or 2 without the Mandalorian in it. We'll find out. Let's move on to Jeff Goldblum. Possibly, you have a news story about this. Do you want to talk about it a little bit? I guess you're not going to say in the news anymore.
No. I mean, he just had an interview where he said he talked to Taika Waititi and basically like, oh, I'll work with you again. So consensus is like, oh, that would be Star Wars probably next. Like, sure.
The Taika Waititi Star Wars movie, I don't want to get excited about yet.
Yeah.
There's nothing concrete about it at all. Yeah. It's as concrete as the Game of Thrones Star Wars, as the Rian Johnson Star Wars, as the all the other Star Wars we've been hearing. So I'm not gonna get excited until I see a set picture, or even maybe him with like hopefully like a Doug Chang or somebody, someone like that, like someone that's doing it, like something a little more tangible. Because right now, like that 2023 movie, I don't care about it right now.
Yeah.
I will. I'm gonna be all over it and excited to go see the theater if I'm still alive. But right now, it's nothing. It's nothing to me. Nothing at all, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's like with the slowing down of production, it's those movies can't really be anything concrete as of right now because like shooting is hard enough as it is right now. So
You know what? When someone gets cast in it, I'll feel more excited. How about that? If
Yeah,
there's
sure.
a cast,
Like,
because but there's no reason why. If I don't even know if that was his next movie, but if it's his next movie, which you would hope it would be,
yeah.
based on the timeline and all that, you would hope that he's been spending this time writing scripts for
Yeah.
Star Wars, or working on a script for Star Wars with somebody else. You'd hope that's been the case, but you never know. I almost kind of wish I mean, I don't know if this. You'd hope this is the case too, where he pitched a Star Wars idea to Lucasfilm, and they hired him to make the new movie based on that pitch.
Yeah.
That's what I would hope.
I think I saw an article saying that Thor: Love and Thunder might be using the volume for shooting of some sort. I didn't really read.
Well, yeah,
it,
he's
so I
got
don't-
that movie before Star Wars. Never mind.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So, who knows?
that's a big movie that hasn't even started production yet.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully that'd be cool if they shot it, parts of it in the volume or whatever, because like it's there. The volume is so equipped for COVID when you really think about it. It's just like it's all one location in one spot.
it's crazy how like Batman got COVID.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he's Batman.
But how did he get like? I don't understand this thing, because you figure he got it from somewhere. So did he go out when he wasn't supposed to go out, or did somebody else on crew have it, or?
Yeah.
Like the thing this is what really kind of shocks me is you watch the NBA and the NHL with their bubble cities, and it's basically been flawless.
Yeah.
Like flawless. Like in Toronto, when the NHL is now one case. So why is it these films, like, you know, the volume, you isolate where you are as much as possible and you bubble it up? Like are they allowing people to go out to clubs and stuff? I mean,
I don't know. I think it might be a little bit more stringent on athletes, because it's like they pay people to make sure where they are. I guess they could do that on sets as well, but it's just like my experience being back to work. It's like people are trying their best, but it's just not working. Like nobody at my work, thank God, is contracted COVID, but it's like I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm used to a mask now. That's doing everything right," and they're like,
yeah.
It's sort of like we'll have a show at my office, a corporate show of some sort, and they'll like, oh, you don't have time to go get lunch. We'll bring in lunch, but they'll give you pizza, where it's just like everybody has to touch this food. Everybody has to touch this box. Like you know what I mean? And we're all learning. I'm not pointing any fingers, but it's just like it's not just something like that. It's just like there's no one cleaning surfaces as much as they should when you really boil it down. So it's like, and I know we can also say like perhaps you can't contract it that quickly. I know it's just like it's really trying to keep the virus away is almost impossible, right? Like because it's just like you don't know till like maybe a week later if you're lucky. So it's like I don't know.
And everywhere is so different on the rules and how to acknowledge it. That's kind of crazy, but you just think maybe films, especially if you're using the volume and stuff like that, maybe go the bubble route and just be like, you're in a bubble, don't leave this damn bubble until, you know, the 3 months we're done shooting, and I'm sorry, you know, but this is your job, we're paying you millions of dollars and thousands of dollars, just do it, and then afterwards you'll be Batman. I'm not blaming him for getting COVID. That's not what I'm doing here. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know. It just seems it's just so weird how like The Rock and his whole family have it. Where are you going?
Well, I mean, when you think about it in the movie world, it's like you don't let people, even if they're trained, whatever, do anything dangerous like stunts. They don't want actors to do stunts because they could probably do a stunt, but if they get hurt, then they're out for like a couple weeks. And if it's your lead, you're like, because isn't it like when you're shooting, it's like don't go skiing, don't do anything where you could break your leg and incapable of like doing dialogue. in a scene. We'll get a guy to jump off a mountain because he just has to jump off the mountain. You need to look. You have to be there.
Except for Tom Cruise. Did you see his new stunt from his new Mission Impossible
yeah.
movie? That thing
No,
looks.
I haven't.
Oh my god, dude, check it out. It is. It is. I peed myself looking at it. I don't know how he pulled this one off, but anyway. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It. Whatever. It is what it is.
It should be under that same umbrella of like, you just stay here. It's like, abide by the rules or go home and sit and do nothing while we wait for something to get normal. So it's like,
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's
We also can't live in fear and live in shelter for the rest of our lives. So we have to
go crazy.
At some point you have to take a bit of a chance and get outside.
Absolutely.
And that's why I go to the mall and I just walk around the mall now. I touch things. Every once in a while I'll lick a door handle or something.
Yeah.
And
they're like, there goes James licking a door handle.
In all fairness, I have gone to the it's a small mall and I've gone there to get something specifically. I haven't just walked in the mall for the hell of it. Because there's no point in doing that still. But I have been to the mall and it's all a hoax. Sorry, never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds, James.
Today's odds are brought to us
by our Patreon. Patreons are fairly wonderful. Fairly wonderful.
Most of them are wonderful.
Yeah.
But Josh is.
Then you get Josh. Our Patreons today and every day are Heidi Feder, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Phil Standenfor, Sooner Thrawn, Rural Farm Boy, Scott D, Andy Higgins, Josh Price, Mason Hope,
Matt W. Rez, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, D. Raven, Spencer, Gleekplay 1, Automated Joy, Disney, Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Aaron Quinton, Jared Cocaine, Girls with Sabers, and Josh with the 10 nerds. These guys having a field day with all this DC talk, man. This Ray Fisher thing going on.
Oh yeah, we never really talked about that yet.
Well,
it's something.
It's crazy, but you take his comments and then you mix them up with Boyega's recent comments. We didn't talk at all about the Boyega stuff. I don't know if we will. Maybe next week or. I feel like if you're going to talk about that, you need to take your time with it. And also, I feel like we are not the two people who like really. It's I don't know.
What can we add to it? It's like he's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all. I mean, you saw that the minute he was the first. That people were after him right away for being a stormtrooper, and he brushed it off, and you could totally see why that would. Yeah. I would be done with Star Wars too. I think if that was my first. I mean, look. Star Wars fans are the greatest, but also some of them, they've done that to Boyega. They pushed Daisy Ridley off social media. They pushed Kelly Marie Tran off social media. They've at best they push him to the brink. They've, some of the Star Wars fans, that claim to be Star Wars fans, are not the nicest people.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you got to remember that these are fictional characters, as Ben Affleck said in the movie Jan Saw and Bob's Strike Back. They are fictional characters written for you to have a good time. You don't have to like it, but you shouldn't go after really anybody involved because it's tough, man. They're human beings. Yeah. They're human beings just trying to make you happy.
Yeah. Like, oh God. That is true about Jay and Silent Bob. It's like the whole argument is like fictional characters. They're not talking about you.
Yeah. Fictional character. But the thing is, it hurts though. If someone says something, it's going to sting because you're going to take it to heart. Mm-hmm. Because that is you. And if when they're going after you because of your race or skin color, that's anyway. We got a lot of work to do as a society. Here we go. Never tell me the odds. The first odd, grief, not greed, Brock, as it auto-corrected on it. Grief Karga will go on his own. He'll go on his own way, and we'll have a spin-off show. Will Grief Karga get his own amazing spin-off show that I will sit and watch every single day?
I don't know. I think perhaps.
does he die in the episode that Carl Weathers directs?
I think if that character goes to another show, it'll be like a two-hander, and I don't think it's with a character that exists yet. Like, I mean, I guess you could say Cara Dune and him go off and do a show, but then it's like you just eliminated half of the gang that you spent a whole season creating. So, I mean, maybe my tune will change after season 2, but I'm gonna say 60%. It's like it makes sense. So
it's interesting you said that though.
Why?
Because you're like that's half the gang. It's like, yeah, but also if they bring in Ahsoka and they bring in Bo-Katan and they bring in this, all of a sudden the gang. Now if they're in one episode, whatever. But we don't know. The first 3 episodes of the first season there was no gang.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's curious. I'm gonna go full Brock on it. Full Brock.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the character that's gonna get his own show. I think it's gonna be new characters like Ahsoka. But
that makes way more sense.
Yeah, but you never know. I think they need to beef up their shows and their material on Disney Plus, the programs. And Grief Karga is built in already. He's already a character with that's established, and you can throw him somewhere. Maybe you follow him, and maybe he's not even like the true lead of the series. Maybe it's whatever. It's Grief Karga's Bounty Hunter Guild or something. Which sounds very lame when I say it out loud. I'm going to go for practice. The next odd, will Moff Gideon survive season 2 of The Mandalorian?
I'm not sure. Because I've been watching the new season of Boys, and he's in that show too. And I don't know if the whole season's out, but I've only watched the first 3 episodes. So I'm assuming he's been in every episode so far, and he's sort of like the main villain now, I guess. Well, not really, but so he could stay in that show. And then I'm not saying he can't do 2 shows at a time, but it's sort of like, I think from what we've established so far, I'm like, yeah, let's ride this character out. I'm gonna go 70%. I'm pretty optimistic he's gonna be something. I feel like maybe a Thrawn sort of style character.
I would like to see that, but I want to go high, but I'm going to go 57%. Because I don't know. I just are they just going to off him and then have a new villain? I hope he sticks around though. I hope they don't have too many villains, but we'll see. We'll soon find out. And our final odd today is: will Baby Yoda steal our hearts once again?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about. Yoda's in High Republic.
Yoda's
concept art on it. So
yeah, we didn't.
Perhaps that will all fit together somehow. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna go 90% because I can't go 100, but he is the greatest thing to happen to Star Wars since the opening crawl. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hollow news. Da, 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 hollow news. My mic's off.
Hollow news. The news you need to know right now. Hey, you got money, right? Well, why don't you go down to your local GameStop or EB Games on October 26th, because Darth Nihilus, the villain, one of the villains, I believe, from Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Xbox game, is going to become a 6-inch Black Series action figure, it's a GameStop exclusive, part of the Gaming Greats for Black Series. I think they've done the villains from the first one, which is why can't I think of this? Doesn't matter. Check it out. It's the usual price, but it's pretty beautiful. He's a pretty evil character, so if you love the Sith, you're going to want this for your shelf. And if you got even more money, well, why don't you go and get the Lego Star Wars Mos Eisley Cantina, which will be available October 1st on Lego.com and in Lego retail stores. And for Lego VIP members, I've never heard of Lego VIP members, on September 16th. It will feature 3,187 pieces with 27 minifigures, including everyone from Han and Greedo to various of the different alien patrons in the bar. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. You're going to want to get it if you're a Lego and Star Wars fan. And talking about films, an independent Star Wars fan film called Bucketheads has been shooting in South Surrey in the last few weeks. The independent film was filmed on the 190 block of 16th Avenue Monday afternoon in South Surrey. It's a massive production, a 70 cast and crew with dozens of stormtroopers, rebels, and Ewoks, droids, a TIE fighter, explosion, and the BC rainforest will serve as the moon of Endor from Return of the Jedi for a series of complex battle scenes and stunts for the first episodes of the series. Oh, it's a series. The series will tell the story of the point of view of Imperial soldiers instead of rebels and Jedi. And they're taking, obviously, huge precautions for COVID. And Monday, apparently, they were shooting a complex battle scene where an Ewok gets crushed by a boulder. So I am in. And finally, if you're a Sims 4 owner or fan, you're gonna want to go download Journey to Batuu, which is the Star Wars expansion for it, where you get to go to Batuu. So if you want to go to Galaxy's Edge, but you can't because of COVID, here's your chance. Check it out. And this has been your Hollow News.
Hollow News.
Hollow News.
I'm a
Do
great.
you have Sims 4, James?
No. I had Sim Earth in like 92 or 3 or something. That's the last Sims game I ever played. Sorry. Anyway, are you gonna order the new Xbox or PlayStation?
No, because I don't really play my current Xbox.
You're the Switch guy.
Oh yeah, I'm so into Nintendo Switch. Right
I like the Switch, but I have a problem with their games that they're releasing. They're all rehashes of old games, and it's like and full price for them. It's kind of getting on my nerves now. It's like, and they keep doing it. They like the first time you're like, that's cute, I'll get it. Now it's like, okay, well,
yeah,
maybe come up with something new to go side by side with these old rehashes that I love. And I love retro gaming, so I'm okay with it. But I'm also like, how many times I need to own Super Mario Brothers, the original one? And I'm going to own it every single time. That's my problem. But I do like the Switch, so it's a lot of fun. Glad I got it back. Yeah. I told Aaron I was going to pre-order the PlayStation 5 as long as it is over $500, because I don't want no cheap system. Because I'm rich and I can afford. Anyway. That one Xbox is like $299, which seems American, I think, but that seems affordable to me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't know, but then the other one's $499. I don't know what the heck the difference is. Top five characters Jeff Goldblum could portray in Star Wars. Who will Jeff Goldblum play in Star Wars? Number 5, the only answer, a Wookiee. But the Wookiee talks like Jeff Goldblum.
No. It's a Wookiee, and he has a translator on his belt, and it's the voice.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's great.
I'm gonna go. This is such a cop out, but it's the first thing that pops in my head when we talk about a movie series that we have no clue about. He's just gonna be a totally random thing that we have never ever seen before. That's my number 5.
All right. Also, this doesn't have to be the Taika Waititi movie. This could be any Star. He could show up in Mandalorian season 2. This is any Star Wars. No, I just want everybody give us your top 5 in the comments below. But just know, there's no specific anything. We're making this up for poops and giggles. A amazing, wise, sarcastic Jedi Master who's also obsessed with. I wanted to be set during the prequels, and he's just like, Yoda. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, my number 4 is a Jedi Master of some sort. Maybe like a historian, not your typical Jedi, because they always talk about like, oh, perhaps this is our Jedi Acolyte, this is our Jedi like historian. Make him something like that, and then like he's like, he doesn't do anything, and at the very end, there's like a massive lightsaber battle.
My number 3, a droid. Seems like a cop-out, but I really think he would make a fantastic droid.
Nice. My number 3 is he's a bartender at some kind of restaurant or bar where he gives them information, or perhaps he's that, and he's actually like behind that. It's like this is a fence for sending out smuggled goods, or he's like an information seller or something like that.
Do you know, this isn't on my list, but you know what he should be? He should be in a galaxy far, far away, like a scientist, and he turns himself into a Toydarian. My number 2, he'll play a Hutt. Any Hutt will do.
Any Hutt will do.
Jeff Goldblum Hutt. He'll be called Bloom Hutt.
Goldblum. Jeff the Hutt.
Jeff the Hutt.
My number 2 is going to be. I don't know if this is. I don't know what our the Empire is gonna be in that, or First Order, but some kind of like naval officer or some sort on the villain side.
Yeah, he'd be a good Imperial. Yeah, for sure. My number 1, he's more powerful than any Imperial. He would be Darth Plagueis. Just put him as a moon. Put him in there as Darth Moon. Darth Plagueis.
My number 1 is he's going to be the current owner of the Millennium Falcon somehow. Like I've said it before, the Falcon will just be something that's constantly in the movies somehow, and that'll be our like touchstone for something. So perhaps they I've always wouldn't it be cool if like a new generation of characters found the Millennium Falcon years after everyone is gone and it's been laying dormant or something. But perhaps he owns it. I don't know.
I would totally be down with that if he's like, I found this from what were their names? Ducard. What were their names of the who owned the Falcon before everything? Anyway, I think him, Jim Carrey, and Damon Wayans should just appear as their characters from Earth Girls Are Easy. But they're just but they don't acknowledge that. They're just those characters in the galaxy, in Star Wars galaxy. I think that would be amazing. They're in like a cantina somewhere. And you're like, who are those 3?
In my head, I was like, oh, at some point, just make him look like his character from Jurassic Park.
Well, there it is.
The Force, it finds a way.
And there you have it. That is our top 5. Let us know your top 5 characters Jeff Goldblum could portray in a galaxy far, far away. It's just for fun. But we have heard from a reliable source that he will be in it, and he's probably directing a trilogy as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been the 183rd episode of the Rebel Scum podcast. Reminder, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. It's been a lot of fun, Brock.
Yeah, it always is with you, James. High five. No, this way.
Oh, wait. You're going the wrong way. There you go. Ready? And move it in more. Move it in more.
Yeah, that's right. It's been so long. I sit on the...
You have to move. Right. You have to move it in more, though. I can't see it. Okay, ready? And 3, 2, go.
Wow. We're bringing you super cool effects here on the Rebel Scum podcast. Episode 180...
Anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. I'm James. That's
Brock.
And he was always Scum.
Scum. Rebel Scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.